Uh, I'm now introducing Dr. Debra Ferman. Debra has a nickname. She's actually a rock star in Artsakh prior to the current situation. She went to Johns Hopkins University, like myself, but she did better than I did. She graduated Phi Beta Kappa. Congratulations. She then attended New York University School of Medicine, did her medical residency at Robert Wood Johnson, where she was really noted for her outstanding clinical skills and was given the award for humanism and professionalism. Really well deserved. She did a fellowship in hematology oncology, and for those of you that don't know, that's cancer and all diseases related to the blood. She's participated in 5 medical missions. But one thing about Debra is when there's a crisis, you really learn about people. And when the war hit Artsakh, Debra came on and really did an outstanding job in helping secure badly needed life-sustaining medical supplies from the diaspora and making sure they got to Armenia. So I really want to thank her so much for everything that she's done, for continued follow-up in this area, as well as the Knights of Vartan, who were also critical in providing us the manpower to get the supplies moved around the East Coast and ultimately to Armenia. Thank you, Debra, for joining us tonight or this afternoon.
Hello?
We hear you.
Oh, okay, great, great. So I think Dr. Kayayan's going to put my my presentation up now.
Okay. That'll be me, Debbie.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
Just tell me when to switch.
Okay, I'll say next. So
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me to speak today about the medical supply procurement during the war done by AAHPO. Next. Okay, so the Medical Supplies Committee had various tasks that range from the mundane to the exciting to the meaningful. Next. At first, there was a barrage of emails to answer. From who? Armenians from all over, hospital systems representatives, random do-gooders, people in the medical field, people who were well connected to, who had access to pharmaceuticals, medical supply, equipment, and technology. Many were very grateful to AAHPO for giving them the opportunity to help the homeland. Next. One example of a supply donor was nurse Anush Kalachian, who I found it interesting. She prayed that her supplies would get to those who needed it the most. We'll see that she was very wise, as you'll see later on. Next. Here we have the AMIC Master Living List. So the Armenian Medical International Committee had a living list Google document made by the Ministry of Health in Armenia with high priority needs for Armenia and Artsakh, which included medications, supplies, and different machines, etc. So you have a high priority need list, medium priorities. People that donated to AAHPO not only did the high priority items, but others were donated too. Next. So supply donation, we streamlined things, made an information sheet, and donors would either drop off or ship to Dr. Najarian's office's supplies. He had a contact person named Crystal. Rita Asoyan worked on categorization and a spreadsheet. Next. And the office building ended up being the supply collecting center, and Knights of Vartan members volunteered to do inventory and pack everything. They categorized, correctly labeled, and itemized meticulously. Mike Halebian was involved with trucking goods to the warehouse. Saro Hartunian donated floors in his warehouse for us to keep the supplies. Next. One supply donor, for instance, Dr. Nubar Kevorkian from the UConn School of Medicine, he had a bunch of high value items, including antibiotics, dexamethasone, anesthetics, and the supply was going to be shipped to Armenia, and we realized his supplies had not yet come to New Jersey. And the Knights of Vartan really stepped up, and they provided drivers at a moment's notice to drive his supplies from Connecticut to New Jersey. Next. So the supply chain included Dr. Najarian's office, going to the warehouse, and then transport via truck to Globbing in Delaware. And that's the transport company. And then from Delaware, it's supposed to go to Armenia. Next. So how does one get supplies to Armenia? You can do shipping, where in air, it takes maybe 8 days or so, but sea would take even longer, months. Another option was passenger transport. They could take it, pack it in a suitcase. It's very quick, high yield items, but it's more expensive. Next. So now we get to the exciting portion of the Medical Supplies Committee's tasks. Next. So during my barrage of emails, I got to know a Dr. Rafi Barsumyan, who's a burn surgeon and an AAHPO member. And he recognized early on that there was an urgent need to bring supplies, medications, and equipment to the burn center for our hero soldiers who were attacked with white phosphorus. He has expertise in the use of these supplies. And here on the left, you see Dr. Barsumyan, and he's actually teaching a Dr. Son, who's like a resident equivalent in Armenia at the burn center. Next. So passenger transport of supplies, in order to do that, we needed a letter from AAHPO. We needed a letter from the Ministry of Health in Armenia, which takes 3 to 5 days. And I would ask our AMIC representative, Dr. Salpi Akaragyan, and we needed proper labeling of the bags. Next. So I viewed myself as just like the police inspector in Casablanca, but I had letters of supply transit. Next. So the first transport of supplies was 3 items. The supplies were sorted by Dr. Pamukyan and Dr. Solin Khajalwanyan. Transport was arranged by a volunteer at AAHPO.org, someone named Alvart, transported the surgical items from New York City to Dr. Najarian's office in New Jersey. And you see on the left, our traveler, Anahit Vartanyan, and on the right is Dr. Rafi Barsumyan in the airport with the bag luggages. Next. So the duffel bags on the left went via Qatar Airways to Ministry of Health first, and they were destined for the University Hospital and the Military Hospital of Yerevan. Success. Next. So passenger transit number 2, last minute, her COVID test didn't go through, didn't come back in time. She had to reschedule. We had to apply for a second Ministry of Health letter. But what it was just 1 item in a duffel bag. So just 1 suitcase destined for the burn center via Aeroflot. Success. Next. Our third traveler was a doctor. And for doctors who are going to a country in need, they have medical mission programs. For instance, Ethicon donates sutures to the doctors who are going, and we were able to get sutures, which are much needed in Armenia. There's another program by AmeriCares, which donates medical and surgical supplies. Next. So our third traveler had a suitcase destined for the burn unit and 1 duffel bag, as you see here. However, there were some glitches this time. There was not enough time for the Ministry of Health to make a letter, and apparently it takes 5 people to sign. And the bags were properly labeled to the destination of the military hospital. However, there were some Azeri sympathizers who work at the Moscow airport. Next. So this was confiscated in customs at Moscow, and the poor doctor was in customs for 6 hours while he was waiting, and the customs inspectors itemized everything in Russian you see here, and everything was itemized and categorized and kept. After that, it was deemed, you could go back, there was no travel of medical supplies through passenger transport, unless it was an urgent item. And all items from the Ministry of Health were requested by air or shipping. Next. And as you remember, Nurse Anush, she was right when we should pray for our medical supplies to reach their destination. Next. So we've also done some meaningful things. For instance, many of the children from Artsakh are now displaced and are being cared for at Arabgir Medical Center in Yerevan. And the children with asthma, the pediatric pulmonologist there, Dr. Asrik Baghdasaryan, had requested inhalers. And we connect her to the correct people to get inhalers. Next. Also, the neurology working group, they've requested anti-seizure meds and pain medications for peripheral neuropathy, which our hero soldiers are suffering. And, part of our mission is to try to connect them with the right people. Next. So as of Friday, December 11th, 2020, over 1 ton of medical supplies arrived in Yerevan. And here you see photos of our hero soldiers at the burn unit in Yerevan, and they're wishing us all a happy Thanksgiving. And third from the top left is Dr. Barsumyan also. Next. So in order to be successful and gather all these supplies and have them arrive in Yerevan, it took a village, it took a community. I'd like to thank everyone who helped in any way. Some people are probably not mentioned, but and I may have forgotten, but Knights of Vartan for their critical help. Every donor of medical supplies, hospital systems who've helped out on behalf of Armenian employees, Saro Hartunyan, Mike Halebian, Nareg of Globing, our passenger transport people, Anahit Vartanyan, Shake Derderian, and Dr. Barsumyan, my connection to the Ministry of Health, Dr. Akaragyan, our doctor on the ground, Dr. Hamparsum Simonian, who is helping ensure the supplies go to the right place, and the countless Armenians who all work together in unity during this time of crisis. And I thank you for your attention. Next.
That's it.
Thank you.
That was wonderful, Dr. Ferman. And one thing that I can say personally that amazed me was the outpouring of support from the community, how anyone I asked for assistance just volunteered. People who were hardworking, had very little income, would donate $50 a week. People would ask their employers if they could get any of the extra medical supplies they have. It was really amazing. We had people calling us and asking us, could they just go to Costco and clean out the Tylenol aisle and donate that. So the support was there. The spirit is in the right place. What we also learned is it's more than just emotion. It's also thinking smart, donating smart. There are it does cost money to donate and ship items to Armenia. And Armenia does have capacity to buy items. They have their list of suppliers. So this is why it was really an organized response by the Armenian Medical International Committee. This is an organization that has organizations like AAHPO throughout the world. Ara's brother is very involved in Lyon, France, for example, Paris, London, California, Boston, South America, Australia. We're meeting together weekly at strategy meetings, coming up with a list of vitally needed goods so we didn't overburden them with things that they could buy with money that we donated in place of physical donations and supplies. So again, if there's a time of crisis, if one has the desire to make an impact, contact us and we can help you make the appropriate donation that will have the most impact. So again, Joyce, Dr. Kurdian, I want to thank you. I want to thank Dr. Ferman. Most of all, I want to thank the Knights of Vartan, Varta Bet Ara, and my new old friend, Dr. Kayayan, and the whole group of you for inviting us to speak today. And we're more than happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Najarian. We all really enjoyed the program with the three of you. And we've learned a lot, and we appreciate everything you've done. It's really amazing what you've done and what you're continuing to do, both here in the U.S. and in Armenia and Artsakh. In honor of your presentation, the Davros Lodge and Shake Otyag will be making a donation to AAHPO, and anybody else who wishes to do the same AAHPO's website is www.aahpo.org/donate. So if you can do that, we appreciate it.